up, everybody? Good morning. It's time for a Sunday edition of Back Porch Sessions. I hope you like that little intro. Just made it yesterday. Just a peek around the corner as you join us. Listen, if you've been here before, you know the drill. Don't be a lurker. Jump in this Sunday morning. Share your name, at least your first name, your city, your state, your town, where in the world you're joining us from, and at least one thing you are grateful for this morning. You know what I'm grateful for this morning? Actually grateful for this juice. I'm not a juice guy. I haven't been a juice guy. There's wonderful here in Sedona. It's called Local Juicery, and it's great. And they have something called Soul Fire. It's pineapple, cucumber, cilantro, and ginger. It is absolutely amazing. So I'm going to be drinking juice this morning. No coffee. So if you jump in, if there's anyone out there, hell, just let me know if you can see or hear me. Jump in, share your name, your city, your state, your town, and at least one thing you are grateful for this morning. Don't be a lurker. Who's out there this fine morning? Couldn't do it yesterday. Actually been taking some Qigong and Tai Chi classes here, and normally I have them on Sunday morning, but my Shifu couldn't do it Sunday morning, so we did it yesterday. So I couldn't share time with you. So we might be getting some new members in the audience this morning on a Sunday morning edition of the Back Porch Sessions. This is volume 3. I hadn't done a Back Porch session in a while. For those of you who don't know, my wife and I, we sold our home and almost all of our possessions last September. We hit the road. We've been traveling around the country. Currently, we're here in Sedona, Arizona, beautiful Sedona, Arizona. And our internet has been such where I couldn't do live streams. So I stopped doing live streams maybe 6 months ago or so, but we're back with these Back Porch Sessions. I have good internet, and we're having a lot of fun here usually Saturday morning. It's Sunday morning. We'll be back next Saturday morning. So if you are joining us, jump in, leave your name, at least your first name, your city, your state, your town, your country, your continent, where in the world you're joining us from. Would love to see who is joining us here. And I know we have a number of people here on this fine Sunday morning. Please jump in. Don't be shy. And as you join us, also, at least one thing you are grateful for this morning. I already shared I'm grateful for this juice from Local Juicery. But you know what else I'm grateful for? You ever go into, it's easy just to go to Amazon, right, and get a new book. It's convenient, it's easy, and you see the new books that are out there. We still have to go to like Barnes & Noble and get new books. And you see what the new books are, and oh, they're new and everything. But you know what's incredible? Going to used bookstores. You don't know what you're going to find there. They're not going to have all the new flashy new releases or whatever. And so my daughter and I went there a couple of weeks ago, and I found some incredible books that I didn't know existed. You go through. One of them is this, The Tao of Abundance. Now, those of you who watch me on a regular basis, my clients know that the Tao Te Ching, I was going to say I'm a big fan of the Tao Te Ching. I don't know if that's really correct to say. But I read the Tao Te Ching. It helps keep me centered. It helps focus me on simplicity, patience, and compassion, and keeping that in my life and getting in a state of flow. But you also know, and if you read my book, 5 Pillars of the Freedom Lifestyle, cultivating a sense of abundance is so key, because the alternative is being what I call a scarcity pimp. You know, a scarcity pimp is someone who thinks that if you are successful, you're somehow taking away from my success, right? We all have those people in our lives. Maybe it's you, right? And it's easy to fall into a sense of scarcity. A scarcity pimp thinks that if you have a piece of that pizza pie, man, you're taking away my slice of the pizza pie. They have no faith in humanity to bake bigger pies or more pies. And yet we know that throughout human existence, that's the case. Through human creativity, we have the ability to bake bigger pies and more pies. And so we know that the world is an abundant place. And yet those scarcity pimps try to bring you down. They bring themselves down. And the alternative is abundance. So this book actually combines the Tao Te Ching and abundance. And abundance, by the way, has nothing to do with the amount of money you make, nothing to do with the dollars and a bank account. Abundance is how you live your life, because I'm going to tell you right now, I know some people who have huge homes right on the coast, massive homes, and they are not abundant because they're constantly waking up every morning thinking, how can I protect all the material stuff I had? And by the way, material stuff isn't bad. It's not good either. It's not good or bad. Money isn't good or bad. It just is. And when you try to control those objects, when you try to attach your meaning to those objects, guess what? Those objects rule you. And when something happens, like, I don't know, COVID, and the government locks you down and takes away your stuff, guess what? You've allowed them to take away your meaning. So being abundant means you are content with nothing. Doesn't mean material stuff is bad, but what it means is I can take away your material stuff and you will still have that sense of abundance. Because I will tell you, I had a 7-figure agency and I woke up and I never had enough money. I never had enough money. And so a lot of people think money cures all. I'm here to tell you it doesn't. And you may say, well, that sounds privileged, and that's your right. If you sit there and worry about my privilege, how does that benefit you? But if you have a sense of abundance, you are focused every day on living correctly. You can take away my material stuff, and yet I will still have a sense of abundance. A sense of abundance. When you have it, you don't wake up thinking, oh my gosh, I got to move the numbers on a ledger and I got to protect my money. How am I going to go get that money today? That's not abundance. Abundance is an inner feeling. I like to call it feeling bulletproof. You have faith in the universe that it will provide. And by the way, the number one mistake we make as humans is separating ourselves out from nature. We are nature. And when humans get into trouble is when we think that science is about bringing nature in our control. By separating ourselves out from nature, we create sickness. We create mental health problems. When we have faith in the universe that it will provide for us, when we look at the bounty that has been there for us, and we don't separate ourselves from nature, we're less likely to destroy nature and ourselves. And that is one piece of realizing that the world is an abundant place. You are part of the world, and therefore you are abundant. So I'm grateful this morning for this book that I picked up at used bookstore, The Tao of Abundance. It's by Lawrence G. Bolt. Excellent book. Highly recommend it. Let's see who's joining us here. Hello, Curt. Grateful for a 65-degree sunny day morning from Connecticut. Thank you so much. For some reason, StreamYard's not allowing me to see who wrote that content. It's Larry. I imagined it was Larry. Thank you so much, Larry. Yeah, it is. It's chilly here. It's probably in the 50s. It'll be 104 today, which sounds bad, but I'm used to humid Charleston, South Carolina. So 104, the dry heat actually feels great to me. I love to go out in the afternoon. Here's a little pro tip. I don't care where you live, even if it's cold, get outside each and every day. When it's sunny, take advantage of it. Go outside and each and every day. Take your shirt off, get it on your belly, get it in your eyes. 20 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight. Don't slather the chemicals all over you, the sunscreen and all that. Go out in the direct sunlight for 20 or 30 minutes. Don't get burned. 20 or 30 minutes. Do some breathing. Soak in that vitamin D. I'm going to tell you right now, vitamin D, it's anti-inflammatory. Vitamin D has been shown to help against, it's a virus killer, right? I posted late last year, that I do breathing exercises out in the sun. And someone on Twitter called me anti-science, simply because I don't ignore the sun, slather chemicals on, and just take drugs. I ask you, and that goes back to what I said earlier about not separating ourselves out from nature. Is doing breathing exercises out in the sun? The universe has given us the sun, which is a proven virus fighter, which has anti-inflammatory impact. Vitamin D, going back to the Spanish flu, we know that vitamin D had a positive effect in terms of resisting virus. So is going out and getting vitamin D each and every day, natural vitamin D, anti-science? Well, I'll leave that to you. For me, I choose to believe it's not. So, well, thank you, Larry. Again, this is a Sunday morning edition of Back Porch Sessions. So we'll see who joins us. I'm going to continue moving on, though, with this. And the first thing we're going to talk about here is verbal vomit. Many of you may have seen my LinkedIn post earlier this week where I talked about a case a couple years ago where we were flying back from Italy. We had gone to Italy for 3 weeks. We were flying back and everything was fine. We landed and we have 4 kids. And I had 2 kids next to me. And my wife was with my 2 sons. So I had at that point, he was 6 years old sitting next to me. And my daughter, who's now 15-year-old, sitting next to him. And then across the aisle, just a little bit in front of us, was my wife. And she had, on the aisle side, was my 10-year-old son. And next to him is now my 12-year-old son. And everything was fine. And we landed and I took my canvas bag down. And all of a sudden, he was 6 years old at the time, said, "I don't feel well." Without any warning, boom, threw up, but like a cannon, all over me, all over my shorts, on my canvas duffel bag. It even went across the aisle and hit my now 10-year-old son in the back of the head. And the reason I told that story is because, listen, that's smelly. We don't like it. We had to walk around Kennedy Airport. We had like a 6-hour layover, right? We had to wash up. We had to change, right? No one likes getting vomited all over. You know who else doesn't like getting vomited all over? Your potential clients. And what do I mean by that? Well, as business owners, oh my gosh, we're so smart. But sometimes, perhaps because we lack confidence, we feel that when we meet a potential client, we need to verbally vomit all over them. What do I mean by that? Well, we go up to them and they ask maybe, what do we do or what do we have to offer? And we feel the need to verbally vomit all over them, all our bells, our whistles, our features, everything that's special and different about our project. Maybe we're a consultant and we need to verbally vomit our experience, our background, our hopes, our dreams, all of that. And meanwhile, all our clients, our potential clients, want to know is, hey, what's in it for me? You know, you may think that's mean, you may think that's inhumane, but here's the deal. Your clients, your potential clients may love you as a person. They may have empathy for you as a human being. They may share a beer with you. But the minute you ask them for money, they want to know what's in it for me. They want to know the positive impact they get from working with you. When I give you money, what is that positive impact I get? By the way, good morning, Timothy. Dr. Tim Williams. So happy to see you here on this Sunday morning. Again, normally we come to you Saturday morning, but I had my Tai Chi class got moved yesterday. So I'm coming to you on a Sunday morning. We'll be back next Saturday. So thank you, Dr. Tim. Dr. Tim, what's one thing you're grateful for today? We're talking about verbal vomit here, Dr. Tim, and that verbal vomit is when we meet a potential client and we verbally vomit all over them. How special we are, our bells, our whistles, our background, our experience, our resume, and all they want to know is what's in it for me. And so, you know what my definition of a business is having a positive impact on someone else. That's the definition of a business. And guess what? It's not just some metaphysical woo-woo stuff. It's good business. If you sell golf balls, you are having a positive impact on a golfer out there. If you sell high-end consulting packages, guess what? You are making someone else's life better. And when you wake up each morning focused on how can I make a positive impact on someone else, guess what? Not only is it good business, because again, I said, when you ask your potential clients for money, they want to know what's in it for me. They want to know the positive impact they get. So you tighten up your messaging. You identify who that ideal client is. You reverse engineer it to put together that very compelling impact story. I don't call it value proposition. Why? Look up the definition of proposition in the dictionary. And there's some interesting definitions about, proposition. Unless you're somehow into prostitution, right? You're not propositioning anyone. What we're doing is we're sharing the positive impact we provide our clients. Your ideal client hears that and they want to learn more. So don't verbally vomit all over them. I mean, there's going to be a time for you to share your uniqueness and your bells and your whistles, but when you meet them, they want to know what's in it for me. And we're so smart. We think we know what they need, and we're going to force feed that to them. There's a difference between what your clients need and what they want. There's a difference between what your clients need and what your clients want. And I repeat that because it is so key. I like to say, maybe you've heard this before, but I like to repeat things. I like to be consistent. Elon Musk sells a shitload of Teslas to people who don't give a rat's ass about the sustainability and the environmental aspect of the Tesla. Now, he could say, I don't want to sell Teslas to those people. And guess what? Tesla wouldn't be as valuable as it is today. But he knows that people don't necessarily, a lot of his clients don't necessarily want that sustainability aspect. What they want is a status symbol. What they want is a car that goes 0 to 60 in 1.7. What they want on the new Cybertruck, oh my gosh, it's got bulletproof glass. So he talks about what his clients want. He doesn't verbally vomit all over them. And guess what? They buy the Tesla and they get what he feels they need. But as business owners, we go and we tell them what they need. And we verbally vomit all over them. And then they walk away and they go to our competitors. And so that's what I like to call the verbal vomit. If you want to sell more, if you want to grow your revenue, if you want to deliver that right message to the right clients, stop verbally vomiting. Focus on your ideal clients. Identify them very clearly. Who are those ideal clients? Then reverse engineer it to put together that impact story based on what they want. So how do you tell the difference? Well, first of all, if you would like to learn more how to deliver that right message to the right clients, I'm going to put a link right here. We are having a right message, right clients, right revenue webinar this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I just put a link. If you're on LinkedIn, I just put a link in the LinkedIn post. Join us. We're going to have some fun. And we're going to learn how to clearly identify those ideal clients, reverse engineer it to put together your impact story, how to deliver that consistently. Guess what? To grow revenue. Those ideal clients, guess what? The best way you have a positive impact is when they give you money. That doesn't mean you don't share your message freely like I do here. But the best way I help my clients is when they jump in and they give me money and then we work together. Dr. Tim, how do you tell the difference need versus want? That's a good question. So I had a client, who was a personal trainer, an elite personal trainer. He was in his 40s. He wasn't some muscle-bound dude with the veins and all that. He was in his 40s. He wanted to build a real business. He was based in Chicago, and guess what? Chicago locked down. They closed their gyms, which to me makes kind of no sense, but they closed their gyms. He needed to survive, right? He has a girlfriend. He's got rent. He's got to survive. He found me on LinkedIn because I regularly share my impact story message. He came in, he started working. He said, listen, I have to build a business from scratch. I've never built a business before. Here's what I want to do. Here's my 3-month goal, my 6-month goal, and my 12-month goal in terms of revenue. His 3-month goal and his 6-month goal almost doubled his revenue. We started focusing on his ideal clients, on the people he has worked with in the past, and the people, it's a combination of those clients that he's ever worked with who treated him like a trusted advisor instead of a vendor, instead of the hired help. Who did he like working with? Who got the most benefit from what he provided? Who were most likely to refer him to other people? Who were most likely to be loyal customers? There was a whole host of things we looked at. I actually have 5 pages of questions we go through. I have a 5-page questionnaire to know your ideal client. Then he went out and he started talking to them. What's the greatest impact you get from working with me? And I do this with all my clients, and guess what? Most of them get surprised because their clients will say things that they didn't know. For instance, as a personal trainer, he thought it was going to them and talking about weight loss and muscle gain and all that. Guess what? We found that his ideal client was a woman, 55 to 65, high-achieving executive, divorced, and Jewish. Now, there's a whole host of reasons that was the case. But he went out and he talked to them. Guess what? It wasn't losing a certain amount of weight. That wasn't the impact they got. It wasn't a certain amount of muscle and all that. It wasn't calories. You know what they wanted to do? He had clients who came back and said, listen, I just want to be able to go for a walk without my back hurting. I just want to kind of fit into this dress. I got a little quarantine weight gain. And he found out the positive impact they wanted from him was to look better, move better, and feel better. Now, in the process, would they lose some weight? Would they gain some muscle? Sure. But what they wanted was to look better, feel better, move better. And he started communicating that to his ideal clients. That's what they wanted from him. It wasn't a certain amount of weight loss and all that. So For him, he went out and talked to his clients. If you're a new business owner, you got to kind of guess, make an educated guess, go out, but talk to those clients, actually have conversations with potential clients, your existing clients, and ask them what they want. I regularly go out and ask my clients, what's the positive impact you get from working with me? I had 2 clients earlier this year. They said, yeah, your branding process is great. But one of them said, you know what I love from working with you? Having another dude who's a business owner who I can talk to on a regular basis. Because as business owners, it's like we're out on an island. He just wanted a confidant, someone to talk to. I had someone else who said, I talk to you because you motivate me every week. There's also the process, and I have questions. So go out, talk to your clients, find out that positive impact they get, find out what they want from you versus need. Dr. Tim, I hope that answers your question. By the way, if you are joining us here today, we have a little smaller audience than usually we've had on Saturday morning, but our audience is strong and mighty. And throughout the day, we get people joining us. If you're joining us live or you're joining us later today, jump in, share your name. Could be your first name, whatever it is. Share your city, your state, your town, and at least one thing you are grateful for this morning. Let's start a gratitude chain. There's enough bullshit going on in the world today. And if you listen to your Facebook friends and the cable news entertainment hosts, right, they would have you believe that we are living in the end of times, the worst times ever, and they are wrong. We are living in incredible times, but you got to start with gratitude to unleash it, to realize it. So let's start a gratitude chain today, whether you're joining live or in the replay. Name, city, state, town, where in the world you're joining us from, and at least one thing you're grateful for today. We got Dr. Chin joining us. We got Larry Decker joining us. By the way, there's a link in the post. If you would like to join my upcoming, it's this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, Right Message, Right Clients, Right Revenue webinar. There's a link in the comments, and that's wonderful. By the way, on the bottom, Curt's blog, February, I started a blog with like the most simple name, kurtzblog.com. I blog a few times per week. My recent blog post, I have one called Embrace the Chaos. We're going to talk about that here in a second. I have a post that went up yesterday called I Think, Therefore I'm Stuck. Right? Our minds are so powerful, but we got to get out of our heads and start taking action. If you're an ideas person, if you're a strategic thinker, that is absolutely wonderful. But the danger is you endlessly strategize. Every day you come up with a plan today and it's great and you're going to act on it tomorrow, but you wake up and you have an even better plan. And you keep doing that, and it's an endless loop, and you never take action. And meanwhile, your competitors are moving forward and kicking your ass. So go check that out on kurtzblog.com. You can subscribe. There's information on my upcoming workshops and boot camps. You can subscribe. Would love to see you at kurtzblog.com. Let's see who's joining us. We got Kenneth from Port Elizabeth, South Africa. I love it. We have people from around the world. We have Connecticut today. We've got Georgia. We've got Augusta, Georgia. We got Dr. Dave from Houston, Texas. And we got Kenneth from South Africa. That's wonderful. And you got Curt from Sedona, Arizona. By the way, I'm drinking my juice. I'm usually not a juice guy, but this is incredible. Timothy, Dr. Tim. Grateful of my loving, supporting wife. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, my wife wasn't feeling great yesterday. I'm grateful she woke up this morning and she's feeling great. She ate something 2 nights ago that wasn't great. Dr. Dave Scientist. This is Dr. Dave from Houston, Texas. I'm grateful to have attended graduation of my 2021 seniors of Wheatley High School yesterday evening. An amazing accomplishment for these scholars in the past year. Dr. Dave, thank you for sharing that. And by the way, I'm grateful for all those folks who graduated from Wheatley High School, because guess what? They're going to go out into the world. And Dr. Dave, I'm sure you helped instill a sense of abundance in them, and they are the ones who are going to go out and change the world. Doesn't mean you can't change the world if you're old like me, right? But if you have, I'm going to go off script here for a little bit. You know, my first client with my current company, 62 years old. She called me up. She messaged me after a LinkedIn post and said, I'm 62 years old. Is my time up? Is it too late for me to build freedom and fulfillment in my life? And you know what I asked her? I said, you have a breath left in your body? She said, yes. I said, then why would you want to spend 1 millisecond more? Whether you have 2 seconds or 20 years on this earth, why would you want to spend 1 millisecond more without a sense of freedom and fulfillment? Because you deserve it. So I don't care if you're 62, 82, 22, right now. And I don't care what the people in your life will say. You know what I realize? Years of talking to potential clients who want to go out on their own, who want to build a life of freedom and fulfillment. Maybe they're stuck in a toxic job, a job that they don't like. There are people in their life. There are people in your life. There's people in my life. I call them the scarcity pimps, who will tell you all the reasons you can't do it. Now, some of them are well-meaning. Some of them subconsciously don't want you to succeed, because if you succeed, then they feel guilty that they had no excuse for not succeeding. I talked to a business owner last week, and guess what? He said, well, I'm not in a place where I'm free and fulfilled. My wife and I aren't free and fulfilled, and I want to start my own business. But people are, what about health insurance? What about this? What about that? The scarcity pimps will tell you all the reasons you can't get it done. And guess what? You can either take challenges, and you can either turn them into excuses like the scarcity pimps want you to do, or you can turn them into outcomes to be achieved. I'm going to repeat that. You can either take your challenges and turn them into excuses, or turn them into outcomes to be achieved. And when you turn them into those outcomes, you reverse engineer them, and you take small bites each and every day, and you obliterate them. And those people in your life who told you why it can't be done, don't feel guilty. They're going to feel guilty because they're going to see you succeed, and they're going to think in the back of their head, wow, I could have done that. I guess it is possible. And now I feel bad because I missed my chance. Now, you can have empathy for those scarcity pimps. You can feel bad for them, but don't let them infect you with the scarcity virus. Because when that happens, you join them. And mediocrity loves company, to quote my good friend Marcus Aurelius Anderson. So thank you so much. Now, the second topic, we're going a little long here today. That's fine. Embracing chaos. You know, a lot of us try to stop chaos and uncertainty in our lives by putting up walls, by building systems to immediately stop the chaos and order it. But here's the problem. Chaos doesn't just go away. If there's a flowing river and you build a dam, that water doesn't go away. You know what happens behind that dam? A couple things could happen. That water builds up energy, builds up energy, builds up energy. And if that's in our minds, if that chaos is in our lives, guess what? That energy builds up. And it can actually cause more stress. You actually haven't dealt with the chaos. It builds up. And if that dam breaks, guess what? Oh, there's more anxiety. There's more fear. Or what happens is we build up the dam, and that chaos, that energy floods into other parts of our lives. The key isn't trying to just create so much order that you just stop the flow of that energy. The key is to embrace the chaos, to ride that chaos. You know, I take my kids to the beach, and they'll stand there, and when the waves are coming in, it's so powerful, right? The water and the waves, there's so much energy. And when you stay there and say, listen, I'm going to fight it, I'm going to stop the wave, my kids play that game, it knocks you down, it hits you. But that same wave that can be so destructive, guess what? When you jump up and you start riding the wave and riding the energy, it's the same exact energy that knocks you down. But when you get on top, when you embrace it, when you ride it, then it's different. You haven't tried to make order out of it. You embrace the chaos. And by embracing the chaos, it orders itself in your life. I take cold showers. I have a blog post about this, by the way, at kurtzblog.com. called Embrace the Chaos. When I take cold showers, right? When you turn the cold water on, it's easier to tense up, right? And we're going to fight the cold. And we're going to make order out of the cold. And you get in the water. And when you do that and you tense up, guess what? It actually is colder. You try to fight the water and you don't warm up. And you're tense and your muscles are tense and the cortisol's flowing. But you never embrace the cold. And so it never warms up. But guess what? When you go into that cold water, and you breathe and you loosen yourself up and you embrace it and you turn around in it, something interesting happens. I will take cold showers. I'll embrace that. And at the end, I'm actually sweating, right? You embrace that energy. You become one with it. You roll around with it. You align yourself with it. It actually warms up. Guess what? It's like that in life. Stop trying to build those dams against the chaos and uncertainty in your life. Hop on top of it. Embrace the chaos and ride it like a wave. Over the last year, we've seen people who've tried to build dams, right? COVID, things have been taken away. And so I called these people the thumb suckers. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. I'm gonna suck my thumb. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to try it. The people who have succeeded, the people who have kicked ass, the people who have grown during COVID are the people who embraced the chaos and rode it. The restaurant owners, and by the way, listen, if you're a restaurant owner in a city that locked you down and wouldn't let you serve and wouldn't let you be creative, even though you tried to be creative, you can focus on what you can control. So my heart goes out to you in those cities where there was a wave of authoritarianism. In some of these places, a third or more of restaurants are going to go out of business. You tried to do what you can, and my heart goes out to you. But like in Charleston, South Carolina, there were some restaurants who just said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to build up this wall. The chaos is there. I got to fight it. And they're going out of business. But there were some restaurants who said, listen, we are 4-star restaurants. We have fine dining. We're getting shut down, but instead of trying to push against the chaos, we're going to ride with it. We're going to build a drive-through window. We're going to keep our people working by doing deliveries. We're going to have a drive-through that goes in, right? When you embrace the chaos, you look for those creative ideas. Your creativity comes out of that chaos. You don't try to fight it. So embrace it. Go to kurtzblog.com, read my Embrace the Chaos blog post, leave a comment. Would love to know your thoughts. Danelle K from Husker Nation in between Lincoln and Omaha. You're grateful for my work from home career with global impact exposure and M&A chaos. Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for everyone for joining us today. By the way, if you're joining the replay of this, thank you and welcome. Jump in. Name, city, state, town, country, continent. Where in the world is joining us from? We have people across America. We have people in South America right now. Energy more powerful. Exactly. Yeah, cold shower. Oh, Dr. Tim, it is amazing. Breath work, breathing exercises, get in the cold shower. Oh, my gosh. It's an inflammation fighter. It spikes the cortisol and takes it down. Also helps your autonomic nervous system and teaches you to just embrace it. And the water actually warms up right away when you embrace it. It's a great part of my day. I almost do it almost daily. You know, if I miss it, I miss it. But I try to do it as much as possible. Well, we went a little over today. Again, this is a Sunday edition of the Back Porch Sessions. We'll be back next Saturday. By the way, if you want to learn to deliver the right message to the right clients, to generate the right revenue, check out the link I put in the LinkedIn comments. Join our webinar. It's this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you don't see the link, post it in the comments, message me, and I'll get you that link. Check out kurtzblog.com for my blog post on Embrace the Chaos. And right now, I'd love to go see what questions you have for me this morning. And I'll sip my juice. We're over here a little bit. We're over time a little bit, but that's fine. We had a number of people join us as we were going. It's warming up here. It's going to be 104. It's probably about 58 here right now, but it warms up quickly here in the desert. Any questions from anyone? Thank you, Dr. Dave. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you for spending some time with us this fine Sunday morning. Hope you have a great rest of Sunday. If you're joining us from New Zealand or Australia or anyone in that part of the hemisphere, happy Monday. As you watch this, hope the future is going well. Any questions from anyone? How do you break? Justin, welcome. Justin, please share one thing you're grateful for this morning. Great. I'm going to put the link in again. And Dr. Tim, I'm gonna put it there. I'm putting the link in. I'm typing it as we speak. All right. And I tagged you in the comment too. So the question is, and Justin, grateful for family and health. How do you break out of a bad habit? Well, habits are interesting, right? Habits are programmed into us. And habits can be good, right? You have good habits, you have bad habits. And I always like to say that life of freedom and fulfillment, it's on the fine line. You got to find that path between order and chaos. There's the yin and the yang, and some people will think it's order or chaos, right? What it really is, it's a balance. The yin and the yang is a balance, and you got to have both of them in your life. And some people need a little more chaos. Some people need a little more order. I need a little more chaos, right? But when you have too much of either, that becomes a problem. And so figuring out that routine in your life and those habits. Now, in my book, I write about the importance of having a long-term vision. That vision for your life, not a vision you want to achieve in 20 years. Vision, you want to start living your life in this way today. That is your vision statement. One sentence vision statement. I actually write about my vision statement, and I've shifted it a bit. I've peeled back the layers of the onion. I'm going to be writing a blog post this week about that and what that means. But one sentence that defines the life you want to live, whether you die in 20 minutes or 20 years. That vision is a guiding star for how you want to live your life. Now, why is this important, Justin, in terms of your bad habits? Because when you define how you want to live your life, it not only makes it easier to say yes to certain things, but sometimes more importantly, it lets you know what to say no to. So you take that vision and then you reverse engineer it. So every single year, every month, every week, every day, you know those three things at most, 3 outcomes you need to achieve. This isn't a to-do. Gosh, I got 20, 30 things to do today and I got to jam all that in. No. That's not productivity. It's not outcomes. Outcomes are the way you want to live your life. Every day I wake up and I have one outcome for my family, one outcome for my self-care, and one outcome for work. Just 3 outcomes. And one for each. Did you know the word priority, by the way? A lot of us in this day and age, I got 30 priorities today. It makes no sense. The root of the word priority is priori. It's Greek. It means one. It means one. In our society, we think priority, I have 16 priorities, right? So just one for each, one for work, one for self-care, one for your relationships, each and every day, and you know what you need to achieve. And you focus on that each and every day, and you build those habits and routines out of there. So that helps us. You time block the heck out of those. And those are the things you do on a daily basis. And that's how you build those good habits to move toward things. Now, what about bad habits? Well, each of us, especially from age 1 to 7, are programmed. We're conditioned. We're conditioned by our parents, our environment, the people around us. Now, some of that conditioning and programming is good. Some of it is horrible. A lot of the habits we engage in today are because of our conditioning from when we were kids. When you're from 1 to 7, you're in a state where your software programs are most likely to be conditioned. Some people are conditioned for scarcity. I know people who are 62 who watch Shark Tank and say, those fat cats, they don't need any more money. Guess what? That mindset was conditioned throughout their lives. So how do you break that? How do you break those bad habits, those conditioning habits? Well, a couple ways. So those habits, there's that layer of habits and conditioning. A lot of that helps build up our identity, right? You hear a lot about identity. Identities are fictions. That's not who we are. And if you identify yourself by an identity, you're identifying yourself by a movie script that has been created out of our conditioning, right? So our conditioning then determines our habits, which determine our actions, which determine our results. Habits, so conditioning, habits, actions, results. And if you're not getting the results you want, you got to go back to the conditioning and the thoughts that are in your head. And to do that, my friend Jason Gregory's got a great book called Fasting the Mind, talks about the fact that conditioning, what we need to do is start getting rid of all the stuff around us that conditions. He calls it fasting the mind. You know, in Indian culture, they call it, I'm going to mispronounce it, vipassana. Literally go silent for 10 days. So you got to turn off the news. You got to turn off your social media. You got to make it work for you. You got to limit your access to people in your life who are clogging your mind. You have to empty your mind. And when you empty your mind, you empty yourself of that conditioning that is leading to those crappy habits. It's in that empty mind where your creativity can actually come forward. You don't have all that conditioning from the scarcity people around you, right? So you clear your mind to have better thoughts, tune out the noise, focus on the signal. That allows you to have better habits, to reprogram your habits, which are going to lead to different actions and different results. Now, I will also say that every habit has a trigger. Every habit has a trigger. And so sometimes we blindly engage in these habits and wonder how we got there, reverse engineer it, and look at the triggers. So a few years ago, I started smoking cigars. And I enjoy a good cigar. I haven't smoked one since right before COVID started. And then COVID started, and I want to strengthen my lungs. I do breath work. What a concept. I strengthen my body naturally, which you can actually do. And it became a habit where I was smoking way too many cigars. And every day I'd go out at 5 and I'd smoke a couple cigars, right? And which, when I smoked a cigar, I wanted some bourbon, and I had a little too much drinking and all that. I started to look at the triggers. And one thing I realized is at the end of the day, I would go out on my back deck when we lived in Charleston. And when I went out on the back deck, I wanted a bourbon and a cigar. So I started looking at what the triggers were to doing that. I loved sitting on the back deck. So what I started doing was changing the time I went out on the back deck. Instead of going at 5, it was Pavlovian, 5 o'clock, back deck, cigar, bourbon. I started taking breaks in the middle of the afternoon. I actually started doing breath work on the back deck, meditating on the back deck. So I got my back deck time in, but in the middle of the day, I didn't want the cigar or the bourbon, right? It was the middle of the day, it was a little warmer and all that. So what I did was I looked at the trigger. The trigger was something simple, me going out on the back deck at 5 p.m., which then triggered the habit of cigar and bourbon. So I changed it up. I started going on the back deck in the middle of the day. And then at 5, you know what I started doing? Spending time with my kids instead of going on the back deck. So there were a whole lot of bad habits coming out of that one trigger, which had to do when I go on the back deck. So I shifted it up and I got rid of it. Everything has a trigger. Everything has a trigger. You know, if you sit down for a movie at night and it triggers that I got to have a drink, you sit down for a movie at night and it triggers I got to have a bowl of ice cream, maybe shift it up a little bit. Maybe don't do movies every night because it's triggering this. Change it up for a bit. You know what happens is a lot of our thoughts that contribute to habits are actually energy in our head. And, you know, we apply whether that thought is good or that's bad. And Stephen Walensky in his book, The Tao of Chaos, says, when you have that thought or that energy, instead of resisting it and ignoring it, hit it with some other energy, right? Hitting it with other energy could be changing the time of day you do it. I mean, I know some people, and we work on their habits in terms of sales, in terms of business development, and they're just having trouble doing calls. So you know what we do? We actually change the time of day that they do it, and it changes everything. Everyone has their own energy flow during the day. I like to get my reps up. Here in Sedona, the sun comes up at like 5. I get up with the sun. I wake up with the sun and I have energy and I'm raring to go. And on the East Coast, it's 8 or 9. And so I do sales calls then. I wake up with that energy. I'm excited and I do my sales calls. And I know some people who can't do that. Well, change it up. My energy flow is different than yours. So build your habits around your energy flows. Look for those triggers, shift it up, and sometimes those habits can go away. But first, depending on what the habit is, maybe it's a larger habit. Tune out the noise, all the bad shit that's fueling the bad energy. Find out what that is. Maybe it's watching the news all the time. Maybe it's paying attention to what people are doing on Facebook. I have some clients who like to look at what every one of their competitors is doing on LinkedIn, and it creates what some people call imposter syndrome. Well, just stop doing that. Look at the triggers. Dr. Tim, habits can't be stopped. They have to be replaced. Exactly. I moved one habit that was a trigger for 2 bad habits, and then I replaced it with something else, something more productive. You can replace energy with energy. You can hit it with some energy and blow it apart. Listen, Justin, I have a wife and I have 4 kids. I'm running a company. We homeschool, and I still find time to fast my mind. Sometimes I'll wake up early in the morning. I'll go hiking. I get away from it. Fasting the mind doesn't mean you have to withdraw from everyone in your life. But it also means you don't have to pay attention to Facebook. You don't have to pay attention to the bullshit on the news. I know people who watch 5 hours of cable news and they have no empathy that there might be people in the world who think differently from them. They wake up every morning angry. They wake up every morning thinking that the world is a horrible place. Are there things that could be more awesome in the world? Yes, but you start with awesome and you go from there instead of saying, oh my gosh, poverty is worse than it's ever been. Violence is worse than it's ever been. Environment is worse than it's ever been. All those 3 things, guess what? They're better than they've ever been. Acknowledging that doesn't mean that you don't also acknowledge there are things that need to be fixed. But if you wake up saying everything's wrong, everything's horrible, guess what? You're full of shit because you're paying attention to the scarcity pimps. Now, someone may listen to me saying, well, that's selling short the challenges in the world today. No, it's not. I prefer to start with awesome and go from there and acknowledge that there are things that need to be fixed. There are places that need to be fixed. There are the ways certain people in our society are being treated that need to be fixed. But you can do that while also acknowledging that we've come a long way, that the world is an amazing place. No, I know, Justin. I know you were being funny. Absolutely. But you know what, Justin? I talk to dozens of people each week who have that and aren't being funny about it. So when I communicate, it's actually to some other people. So, Justin, I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone. Any other questions for me? I'm here for a little bit. Hey, I got this whole thing of juice to finish. Oh, David Petter. Great energy this morning, Curt. David, today I celebrate my 49th birthday. Happy birthday. David, they said 49 is the new 48. Congratulations, David. Year of fulfillment ahead. That's wonderful. David, let's chat this week. Sorry, I dropped the ball on calling you back, but I left you a message Friday. Dr. Tim, I left you a message. I hope you got my message. There's someone I want to hook you up. More good in the world than evil. We just give more of our attention to the minor. Absolutely, Dr. Tim. And there are things that need to be better. Absolutely, there always will. But start with awesome and go from there. Awesome. I thank everyone. I really am grateful for everyone who joins me and spends some time. I get energy from you. I hope I give off some good energy in the morning as well. If you want to check my Embrace the Chaos blog, go to kurtzblog.com. I have a new one yesterday called I Think, Therefore I'm Stuck. Please check that out. There's a link in the comments. By the way, if you want the link, I'll send it directly to you. Dr. Tim, I'll send it to you. This Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern is my Right Message, Right Clients, Right Revenue webinar, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want me to send you the link, comment. It's in the comments as well, but sometimes LinkedIn makes it hard to find. Thank you so much for joining us, joining everyone here today. People around the world have joined us here today. If you're joining the replay, still jump in. Name, city, state, town, at least one thing you're grateful for. My name is Curt Mercadante. My company is Merc Enterprises, and I help individuals, businesses, and teams become more purposeful, productive, and prosperous. It has been my honor to spend time with you today. Have a great rest of your Sunday, or if you're on the other side of the world, a wonderful Monday. Either way, have an abundant week. Thank you.